So the other day when I was showing you what chemicals we use to maintain our pool, I had also forgot to mention, just because it's really not worth mentioning because I'm sure everyone knows about this, this is the brand HTH Multi-Purpose 6-Way Test Strips. This is what we use, used during the season each week to test the chlorine, the pH, the total alkalinity, total hardness, and the cyanuric acid stabilizer in our water, in our pool water. So that's what the strip looks like, and it just, shows you the different ranges and the minimum amount you want, the perfect amount, and the max. So anyway, yeah, that's what this is. And we buy these at Walmart. It's a box of 30 strips, and it's $15 at Walmart. And it comes with this little water collection tube. Anyhow, so that's that. The next thing is, like I said, we've not had any problem with algae, but for the pool closing, when I was researching, watching videos, reading countless articles and everything like that, researching on how to close the pool, different types of chemicals, and, the process of it all, there was a few sites that recommended buying some algaecide, and I was like, well, okay, so this brand here that I bought is Chemtech. And the reason I bought Chemtech, there's a lot of other, significantly cheaper brands that you could buy of algaecide. I know Clorox sells one, but the reviews was really bad on it. And Chemtech had the best reviews. That's what was recommended. And this bottle, it's 1 quart, 32 ounces, and it was about like $60. And I was thinking, I'll just keep seeing if I can find a cheaper one. So I eventually found this. Instead of 60, it was 22 on Amazon. So I went ahead and bought this because I'd rather pay, extra $20, than lose my 13,500 gallons of water due to algae. So it was worth it just to be on the safe side. Okay, so I do have that, and I'll tell you in a minute how I plan, what I'm thinking of on how to use it. And then there are many different brands of winterizing pool kits like this. This brand is In the Swim, and I first learned about this on a YouTube video. Tanya, I don't know. Anyway, so I learned about this through her, and then I started, watching more winter closing videos, and there was a handful of people that were using this, and so then I started watching like professional pool closers, and they had this, and there were some others they had. So then I started comparing all the different options and reading reviews, and In the Swim seemed to get the most consistent, highest reviews. So I went ahead and bought this. They have different levels. See the check mark there? My pool is only 13,500 gallons, so I could have paid a little bit less and bought this one for 15,000, but they said that, if you can get chemicals for a pool, a little bit bigger, then in the long run, they'll last longer through the winter, and it'll be better for your pool. So I was like, I think it was $10 higher to get this one. I was like, well, $10 is worth it because I really don't want to lose all that water, because it's well water, and it came from our well, and it was not the electricity, to run for that long. And anyway, so it was worth it for us. Okay, so I have not taken the stuff out of the box yet, but I did cut it open. So, looks like it has some air cushion bags in here. I don't know if I can pull this stuff out with one hand or not. Okay, I was going to buy the one. They also have these to where you can get, you can add an air pillow to it, and I was going to get that, but we ended up buying at Menards one of those round, black, 45-inch inner tubes, that some people will hook up to the, back of a boat, or just put them out on the river and just sit in them and, do a little float trip. So we did buy that. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I can get this out with one hand. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so here are some instructions. Okay, here's this thing. Looks like these are chlorine-free shock, and you've got some winterizing stain away. This will supposed to keep your pool from getting stained. This is winterizer. I don't know. So I will open these up and read a little bit about it, and then I'll get back with you. Okay, so I got everything out of the bags, and I quickly looked through these instructions, and it seems very simple and straightforward, and that's what one of the reviews had said, that their instructions, that In the Swim's instructions were very easy to understand. Okay, so, so it included 3 pounds of chlorine-free shock. It includes this winterizing enhancer floater. That's what this thing is. Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. It includes the winter stain away, and what this does is this prevents surface stains and discoloration of water. It helps to disperse stains and scale from the pool surfaces, and it controls iron and other metals. And then it also, oh sorry, this was 1 quart, 32 ounces. And this is also 1 quart, 32 ounces. It's the winterizer. It's supposed to help maintain clear water, controls green, yellow, brown, and black deposits during the winter months. It's compatible with chlorine, bromine, and catalytic purifier systems. And then the last thing that this set included that I bought is this foam sorb. Okay, so in this, well, we'll get to this in a minute, okay? All right, so if you want to pause the video so you can read these instructions on your own, you can. All right, so the first thing we do here is before we have to add the time-release winterizing enhancer, which is this thing right here. Okay, now it says to carefully punch holes through the 9 indents on both sides of the cylinder. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so these are the 9, indented little circles here that it's talking about, that it says to punch holes through there. On this, the directions aren't very clear. It sounds like we are to punch every single hole. However, one of the reviews or the videos I watched said that you're only supposed to punch the vent hole and then the hole for your pool size. So like if your pool is a 5,000 gallon, you would punch that one, or 15,000, you'd punch that one. So I'm going to call the company and verify if I'm supposed to punch every single one or just the size of my pool and the vent. Okay? So that's what I wanted to say about that. And it would just go in the water like this. You can see it says insert this end up. Okay, and then it says to place the floater, this thing here, into the pool so that the small end is submerged into the water. It says do not throw the floater into the pool. All right, and then the next thing to do before you cover it is over here, this winter sorb. It's a sponge, it's like a foamy sponge, and it says that it absorbs up to 40 times its weight in, suntan oils, body oils, grime, scum, just, any kind of little nasty, gunky stuff. It's supposed to absorb that. So, I thought that's pretty good. We'll see. All right, and then after you put that into the pool, then you go ahead and you cover the pool. Okay, so this here, it says if the winter or the spring are unusually warm, lift one end of the cover to check the condition of the water. If algae is present, add another bottle of the winterizer. But what I'm going to do is if there is algae present, I will probably add this, okay? We'll see. Where am I at? Okay, then it says, in the spring, remove the cover, reconnect all plumbing, and raise the water to proper operation level. Remove and dispose of the time-release floater, which is that thing. Then it says here, and again in the blue, that this kit will be effective until water temperature reaches 65 degrees in the spring. Okay, so this is only good for up to 65 degrees in temperature. Okay, so it won't work if the water temperature is higher than that. Okay, so I told you about that and how to use it. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you about this algaecide. When I ordered the algaecide, I had read, that it's a good precaution to take to go ahead and dump this in. So I watched videos, I read just so many articles and such on algaecide and the process of closing the pool and everything. And what I did is I took a notebook, and from every video and every article, I wrote down the steps that they recommended. Okay, so I had like several notebook sheets full. And then when I was done, I went back and took another notebook sheet of paper, and I listed in order everything that those videos and articles all agreed on. Okay, so everything they had in common, I wrote those down, and then, so that's what I did, and then after I wrote those down, then I researched each product, okay? So, this is what I had wrote down that everyone agreed on. They all agreed the first step was to balance all the levels for the chemicals. Then they agreed that you should clean the pool, and then that you should shock the pool, and again, I wrote down what I was going to use, which is the Clorox vinyl pool shock that I showed you earlier. It's $4 for a pound, and you're supposed to let it sit and mix. Okay, and I've already balanced the waters, cleaned the pool, and I've already done the shock. And then they said to add algaecide, and the best brand they all recommended was Chemtech, and I got it for $22. They said to let it sit and mix 1 day prior to closing the pool. Okay, so yesterday I was actually going to go ahead and add this, but I was reading on the back of it, and it says that your chlorine level needs to be between 1 and 2 parts per million. Mine right now is 4 parts per million. And so then I got to researching again yesterday on that, and they said that if the chlorine is too high, that it will negatively affect how this works. So what I'm going to do instead is just not put this in. I'll just go ahead and winterize the pool, and then, you know, maybe in a couple weeks, I'll check the levels. If the chlorine's okay, then I may go, like low enough, I guess, then I may go ahead and add that. Or I may just, you know, every few weeks open the tarp a little bit and check, and if I see any algae, then add that. So we're going to see, okay? Like I said, this is our first real pool, our first time ever closing a pool. So that's kind of my plan on that. And then the next thing is to do the winterizing kit, which I just showed you that I bought. And then we'll drain the water below the intakes, unhook all hoses, and store away. We will rope an air pillow in the middle of the pool inner tube. And like I told you, I did not buy that air pillow. We might actually use my yoga ball because we don't use it for yoga. Or is it, I don't know if it's yoga. You know that big, round, thick ball, those, like, balance ball, is that what it's called? Anyway, then we'll put the cover on and we'll tie down the cover. They also make, it's like saran wrap, but it's pool wrap. They make some of that to wrap around, like after your cover's on, you wrap it tightly around the perimeter of your pool, and it's supposed to help keep the wind from blowing the cover up, even though you'll still have it tied down. We haven't bought any of that. It's only like $15 for the amount that we would need, but we haven't bought that yet. We might not, I don't know. And then once the cover's on, we'll add water to help hold the cover down. And then, of course, we're going to have to remove water that's on the cover when needed so it doesn't, you know, weigh down and, you know, bend the pool and stuff. I'm actually thinking about buying a, it's not a sump pump, but I guess it's similar. It's a small, Menards has one for like $37 or $40. It's just this small little portable water pump, and from my understanding, you can just sit it on the pool cover and turn it on, and it'll, you know, pump off the excess water. So we'll see. We will see. I researched, you know, mesh covers and the benefits of them, the negative part, the pros and cons of them. And after all that research, I really, even though it may be a little bit more work doing the solid cover, I still feel like that's the best thing for us to do. You know, our pool is out in the open sun and there's no trees close by. So I think we're going to be okay using the solid cover. So we will see, but this is what we're using for our winterizing pool closing. So I will show you that process whenever we actually go to dump this stuff in. Okay, so I forgot to show you us putting these in, but you can see I used all 3 bags of the In the Swim chlorine shock, or chlorine-free shock, and I just took each bag and walked the circle around the perimeter of the pool and just dumped them in that way. Okay, and today is Saturday around noon or so, so then tomorrow I will add some of the other winterizing ingredients. Okay, so now I'm going to put in the winterizer in the pool, and it has this clear window so you can see how many ounces of this that you have used. so we let the winterizer set for about 30 minutes. Now we're going to add the winter stain away. And this also has the clear window, and this liquid is pink. Alright, so I have this floater already punched. Let me zoom in here, or clear it up here. Okay, so our pool holds 13,500 gallons of water, but I went ahead and I punched the hole for the 15,000 gallons of water. And that's the only hole that I punched, is for the gallon size. And I did the same thing on the other side. I only punched the 15,000 gallon hole. Okay, so in the instructions on this whole set, it said to punch holes. It said to punch holes along the 9 indents on each side of this thing. So that kind of sounds like you would punch every single hole. However, I had seen a video where someone did punch every hole, and then I saw another video where someone only punched the vent hole and then the hole for their size of pool. So I called the company, and they told me to only punch the size of pool. They said don't even punch the vent hole, just the size of pool. So I did it. So it was very simple. I just took just a plain, cheap, dull steak knife, and it was just very easy to do that. So I did that, and I'm going to put this in the water, in the pool water. It says do not throw it in there. It says to just place it in there and submerge it until the water comes up, you know, on this narrow part of the cylinder. Okay, and then I'm going to throw this winter sorb in that is supposed to, you know, absorb oils, grime, body oils, suntan lotions, things like that throughout the winter. It's supposed to absorb 40 times its own weight. And so once I put these two things in, we will be ready to place the cover on the pool. And hopefully we can do that today. Okay, so here is the sorb. That's all there is to that. And like I said earlier, I do have to get the skimmer out here again because it's a windy day and we've got ladybugs. Look at this. Check this out. See that? We've got these ladybugs on these tree wings seeds. You see that? It's funny. It's a little raft. Anyway, so I've got to skim out the pool. Okay, so now I'm going to put this thing in here, and it'll probably tip over. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Just kind of going to hold it. I'm just holding it right now so it can get the air out and submerge on its own. Trying to hold it straight up until it gets full of water down there. Balances itself out. If it will. It'll straighten out on its own. You can see the air is coming out there. So we will see what this looks like probably by the end of the day or in a few hours anyway. And if it's not how it should be, I may go ahead and poke that vent hole. Because to me it just kind of makes sense like you should. But we'll see. Okay, so before I actually go ahead and, finish closing the pool, remember me telling you about this? So I have some sandpaper. I need to lightly sand this, and I bought some spray paint. I wanted the liquid paint, but the store didn't have the color in the liquid. So we're just going to try to do a neat job with some spray paint, and I'll show you what I bought in a minute. But right now I need to go around the whole pool and see if there are any more spots. So the ladder was a big one, and then this one, and this one here. Okay, so I found another spot right here. This is the first one that I have seen on the vertical leg of the pool. See that right there? Okay, so I just have a few poles left to check, and this is the first one I found on the pole. So So I'm just going around checking all these because I would rather fix them right now when they're just starting and they're small, instead of waiting until next spring and, you know, have considerably larger rust spots. It's better to fix things now than to let it sit. Okay, so I'm back to where I started. So all I saw were these 2 marks here that I've already showed you, and then the one that was down here on the other pole that I showed you, and then the only other little ones are just these little bitty, you know, like pin dots, needlepoint size of little surface rust here. Okay, so really, it's good. So I'm just going to go ahead and fix this. And I don't think that I told you exactly why I was even making this video. It has a few different reasons. I'm making this video to, you know, help you. Also, so it can help you know what to do or what not to do in case this flops. I'm also making this video to help us remember if this works out. For us to remember what we need to do the following year or what we need to change. And also, since we have moved last year, you know, friends that live down where we came from and family and stuff, you know, they're going to be asking questions on what we did, and, you know, I'm going to forget. So this is just a way for them to follow step by step through this rather long video, and I'm sorry. That's just how I am. Okay, so I went ahead and I sanded those spots that you saw, and I'm just using a P400 grit sandpaper. Okay. All right, so that's that. And I wanted to buy some Rust-Oleum hammer coated paint because I really like hammer coat. That's really good stuff. But Walmart does not have hardly anything. It's just a very small Walmart. So I just went ahead and got, they didn't have the hammer coat in the gray. They only had hammer coat in gold, brown, and white, or black. So they didn't have it in the gray. So I went ahead and just got the Rust-Oleum. Okay, so like I said, I sanded it down and the paint is still a little bit wet. I went ahead and spray painted that. Okay, so those 2 places are taken care of, and also the place that was on a leg over there. Alright, but you just want to sand it down, you know, kind of make it leveled and smooth, but also sanding, it helps to, you know, make some texture and some roughness into the metal, so the paint will bond to it, the spray paint will bond to it good. Well, it is Sunday afternoon, about 2:30. I started making this pool closing long video on Wednesday. You can see our floater over there. It still hasn't got upright yet. Anyhow, I just kind of wanted to show you what the water looks like right now, and hopefully in the spring it'll look this clear. We will see. So all the winterizing chemicals are all in here. All we have left to do is we've got to unhook all of our plumbing and, you know, lower the water to below those drains over there and throw that black inner tube in here and then cover it, because everything else is done. So we'll see. Just wanted to show you, this is what we're going to be putting in the center of the pool. We got it from Menards. It's a Swim and Snow rubber tube. It's 45 inches in diameter. It says heavy duty. So but yeah, we're just gonna blow this up, throw it in the middle of the pool, and we might put, I have a big pink yoga ball or balance ball, whatever it is. We don't use. We might set that ball in the middle of this. We'll see. But anyway, so that's what we're gonna use. All right, so we have the tube and the ball in the center, strapped down, tied down. Okay, so we have the pool draining. You can see this is our setup here. I'll go over this in just a minute. You can see that we have, you know, it going down the hillside there. Okay, so this is what we did. Ta-da! All right, so we have to drain the water just below these outlets here, I guess, inlets, whatever, I think outlets. Anyway, so we gotta drain the water just below that. It's a pretty good distance, but that's what they say to do. So we gotta drain it below that. So instead of just taking those off and letting the water just run out the holes, because, you know, that can erode the ground away under it, instead of doing that, or instead of getting a water hose and just siphoning it out, because that would be a long time, my friend did that to close her pool. Well, they actually took their pool down, but to drain the water, and it took them about a week and a half, I think she said, for it to drain out with the water hose. So what we did is this hose and this hose are the ones that actually came with the pool, and we kept those for this purpose. So normally, all the time, this one, this is the drain, and this always stays closed. But for draining the water, we took one of those hoses, hooked it up to here, and it's here. And then my husband stuck it in this long PVC pipe that's running down there, and then, you know, you can see what's happening. Okay, and then of course he took a string to tie it, you know, so the pressure doesn't, you know, blow it out. Anyhow, and then we turned the pump on, because we just had the pump off, and it was just going out. It's going out a lot faster than a water hose. But we turned the pump on, and now it's just, you know, blasting out pretty good. So that's probably going to go by pretty quick. Probably before bed, it might even be low enough to be done. So now, okay, so we are done. You can see that we removed the pink ball. We had the ball in the tire, you know, and all strapped down in the center of the pool. But then whenever we went to unravel this, you know, spread out this cover, we could not get the cover up and over the ball, so we just took the ball off, and it was a struggle even getting that inner tube back underneath it, but we did it. And at first, this cover did not look like it was going to fit at all. I mean, it was several feet too short on, you know, all sides. Anyhow, me and my husband and the girls came out here, and we kept stretching it and working it and stretching it some more, and it finally barely fit. I mean, it's like, it's really, it's really barely fit on here. It actually came with, pre-threaded with the cord here and a, you know, a tie thing here. But only on two sides, this one and then the far opposite one. However, just tying down two sides, it's really windy up here, and the wind just kept blowing, and it just was not working. So we had a couple of these bar clamps, so we got at Menards, but all we had was two. So the reason it's evening is because I went to town, and I went to Walmart, and I bought some of these clamps here. Okay, so now we kind of have these clamps every few feet holding down the cover. So we're going to see how this goes. Next time we go to Menards, I actually bought all that Walmart had of these. So next time we go to Menards or Walmart, maybe we're going to get some more, because this is not, see, you can see that this is not going to be sufficient for the type of weather, the wind we have here. So he went ahead and he unscrewed the hose that blows the water, the filtered water, back into the pool. We will deal with this tomorrow. But I showed you how we had the water draining down here, and we had the motor on to drain that. It took 33 minutes, or was it 23? Let me think. It was 33 minutes that it took with the motor on to pump the water out from the top to just to the top, you know, from the top of the pool just to the top of the thing that sucks the water out. It took 33 minutes, and that was really fast. So doing it that way, you know, running the hose through there, that worked great. But then, of course, it started pumping air, so we had to turn the pump off and just let it flow out like this, okay? And it's almost done. I mean, it's just like right there on the very last little dot of the thing. So it's almost done draining just below those things. All right. Let me see here. I don't know if you can see in here or not. No, it's too dark. Anyhow, you saw how clean the water was. However, right before we put the cover on, I did see bugs again, and some leaves had blown in it. And I'm like, it'll be there in the spring. So hopefully, what's in there does not make the water too terrible. So we will see. And this is the cover that came with it. It's a Coleman cover, came with it. And also, it has some pre-made holes on the high ends up here. Every, I don't know, 5 feet maybe, there's holes. Okay? Well, I guess that does it for this video. Rather long, I'm very sorry. So like I said, the only thing we have left to do is once that finishes getting just down below that, which it'll be done in just a little bit, we got to unhook those, drain them, and store them. And then tomorrow, he said he's not messing with this tonight, but tomorrow we got to, you know, finish taking all the water out of there and figure out if we're going to muscle it and move that or what we're going to do with it. All right. So, thank you for watching.